The Ethiopian government has suspended the activities of 3 foreign humanitarian organizations working in the Tigray region. Mukesh Kapila, a specialist in humanitarian affairs, gives us insight into the challenges humanitarian agencies face and how to better support them. Mukesh, we thank you for your time. A very good morning and welcome to Radio Islam International.
Good morning.
Right, so what are the main political challenges that humanitarian agencies face when working in such volatile environments?
Well, nowadays, the control of humanitarian supplies and access is a weapon of war in modern conflicts. Modern conflicts are often asymmetrical, like the one we're seeing in Ethiopia between the Tigray Defense Forces and the Central Federal Ethiopian government. And in an asymmetrical war, in other words, a war without kind of clear front lines, as was traditional in decades ago, the regulation of humanitarian access is a means for both waging war and winning control over your adversaries. And that, of course, means that the belligerents, in this case, particularly the Ethiopian government, is seeking to starve the people of Tigray and stopping aid to get through to them. So naturally, they impose these kinds of restrictions, regulations. And humanitarians face a clear choice, either to comply and carry on doing what they can to help whoever they can, reaching whoever they're able to, or on the other hand, to sit on the moral high horse and withdraw. It's a very difficult dilemma.
Indeed. Are there any legal mechanisms that can help them in such a situation?
Well, the international law is very clear. In the conduct of hostilities, humanitarian assistance should not be targeted. Health workers should not be targeted. Hospitals should not be targeted. Food supply should not be targeted. This is prescribed from doing so under the Geneva Conventions for the conduct of war. And whether it's a civil war or an international war, it's exactly the same thing. However, because there is no mechanism to hold perpetrators to account, often these laws are completely, not obeyed by anyone concerned. And that's why we see in country after country, not just in Tigray at the present time, but in other conflicts around Africa and the world, abuse of international humanitarian law. And domestic courts obviously are not going to impose the law, and international courts require some body to send them the cases to investigate. And by the time anything happens, of course, it's far too late. The war has either been won or lost.
Now, in Tigray in specific, what kind of aid is most urgently needed, which these agencies were delivering?
Well, primarily it's food. Essentially, there is no food in Tigray. There are roughly 6 million people in Tigray, and latest estimates indicate that somewhere at least in the 5.5 million or so are totally dependent on external food aid. And within that community, there are certain extra vulnerable populations, for example, women-headed households, children. Well over 100,000, perhaps more children are suffering from malnutrition, and starvation deaths have already been reported. Maybe 40, 50 deaths a day are being reported. Now, Ethiopia, including Tigray, are no stranger to famine. However, even though past famines were often due to conflict, this one is in the modern age. And so the stranglehold on Tigray means that is people are literally being starved in the hope that they will submit. The second assistance that is needed is, of course, for healthcare. There are a lot of diseases there. Many women have been raped, and healthcare has been denied to them. Normal immunizations are not taking place, and we don't really know what the situation with COVID-19 pandemic is in Tigray. But we know that cases as a whole are rising in Ethiopia. So I wouldn't be surprised if there was a unrecognized epidemic going on for that as well.
What's been the official response of the Ethiopian government in terms of why they are suspending the activities of these 3 foreign humanitarian organizations?
Well, they have claimed that these humanitarian agencies, which, by the way, are well known and hugely respected international bodies, and I know them personally myself in my long career working in the humanitarian sector across many countries. But the Ethiopian government claims that they are spreading propaganda, fake news, and that they are, working for the opposition, and they're not operating in a neutral and unbiased manner. They've not provided any evidence for these claims, but clearly these organizations, because of their international reputation and the fact that they're respected, and their statements of advocacy on behalf of the suffering people have obviously caused great umbrage within the Ethiopian administration.
Now, we spoke earlier about legal options. Are there any diplomatic options on the table that could exert pressure on the Ethiopian government?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think any country, any friendly country, would want to see this business finish. And many envoys have come and gone from Addis, especially the Americans and the Europeans, the European Union and the US, and they've all been rebuffed. Now, Sudan, which has a direct strategic interest in this area because it receives, because it has a border, and also because it is receiving refugees from Tigray, has itself experienced what happens when genocide happens on its territory, as happened in Darfur years ago, has said, look, we need to do something about this, and can we help in any particular way? The United Arab Emirates, which has been kind of supporting, including with the technology, drones and so on, have also said, look, this has got to come to an end. So a lot of international partners have been saying, trying to mediate, have been trying to use their good offices to bring at least the humanitarian crisis under some kind of control. But when a regime is entered on a total war, then one isn't surprised that it's going to reject all efforts, whether it is humanitarian-minded or whether it's politically minded, to achieve whatever objectives it wants to achieve. So all diplomatic efforts have failed so far, and the UN is neutralized because of the Security Council. China and Russia will not allow anyone to intervene officially. And of course, the African Union, which is hosted in Addis, is a total hostage to Ethiopia, and is a complete and utter disgrace when it comes to trying to find African solutions for African problems.
Mukesh, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.